As a result of the arrest made by Philadelphia police with the assistance of our federal law enforcement partners, my office is currently reviewing the evidence and determining what charges to bring. And while we have not finalized our decisions in that regard, because we are still obtaining evidence as I speak here, those charges definitely will include charges of illegal possession of firearms in Philadelphia, specifically Section 6106 and 6108, which are known as VUFA, or violations of the Uniform Firearms Act charges. It is likely there will be some other related charges, possibly possession of an instrument of crime, possibly prohibited offensive weapon, possibly a criminal offense under the Election Code. But, as I said, some of those charges we have not finalized and will be finalizing, at least for now, before the time for the actual preliminary arraignment. That preliminary arraignment is likely to happen either late tonight or early in the morning tomorrow, just given the queue of other cases that remain before their case will be brought up for a preliminary arraignment. As the Commissioner noted, we are dealing with a 42-year-old man and a 61-year-old man. Those two men will be identified at the time of charging, and at that time spellings of the names can be provided as well. As the Commissioner indicated, this is an ongoing investigation. It is very active as we speak. And so on behalf of the DA's office, I can tell you I'm being circumspect about what it is I'm willing to discuss at this time. It is our understanding that when these men were seen on the street in the area of 13th and Arch approximately, that it was observable that they were both in possession of handguns. The AR-style weapon was inside the vehicle, and they were not next to the vehicle. The vehicle itself was somewhat removed from where they were. A third individual, a woman, who appears to have been traveling with the pair, was not arrested. I can tell you also that the AR-style weapon had no serial number, that there was ammunition both in the vehicle and in the weapons. The District Attorney's Office Election Task Force, along with the DAO Gun Crime Strategies and Prevention Collaborative, are continuing to work successfully and in a collaborative way with the Philadelphia Police Department and the FBI. There has also been assistance provided by representatives of the United States Attorney's Office in this matter at this time. And we intend to continue to work in the same kind of collaborative fashion. Now, let me say this. At this time, we do not have indications that the story is bigger than these two individuals. We do not have indications of that nature at this time. And I think it is important to recognize that the Election Task Force at the DA's office and the election efforts of the Philadelphia Police Department were very successful on Election Day in preventing intimidation, coercion, suppression of voting in Philadelphia. I think it is also worth noting that yesterday there was no significant presence, at least to the best of my organization's knowledge and close collaboration with others, there was no significant presence of hate groups, of white supremacists, of neo-Nazis. That is not something that was observed out there. And the interaction that I saw between supporters of one candidate and supporters of the other candidate, or supporters of continuing to count the votes and supporters of stopping a count of the votes, while it was vocal, did not appear to be violent. So I would caution all of you, and I would ask that all of you be cautious in how you report on a situation that may turn out to be nothing more than two people deciding to come to Philadelphia at a particular time for a somewhat unknown purpose. Obviously, we take this very seriously, but we do not think exaggerating what we know is constructive, and we would ask you also to be cautious in that regard. That's all I have. I can tell you this: there are several offenses that are not traditionally used in criminal court because elections don't happen every day, and also because most elections don't get this heated. But there are several different criminal offenses, both felony and misdemeanor, that exist under the Pennsylvania Election Code. We are looking closely at them in light of the evidence that we have at this time and determining whether or not there are one or more that we would charge at this time. There is nothing stopping us, should we obtain information later, from charging them later or charging additional ones later. But in trying to be transparent with you about the charges we are considering, there's no question we're bringing weapons offenses in light of the illegal possession on the street in Philadelphia of guns as to which the possessors did not have a legal permit to carry. There is a question, and there is the possibility, that we may also bring a criminal charge or more, one or more, under the election code, and I won't comment further on that point.
What's the relationship of the three divisions?
I think it's probably fair to say it seems to be a friendly relationship.
Did the tipster report that the men had any plan for mass violence, or it was they coming to the city with guns?
I have no comment on whether there was a tipster or what that tipster may have said.
How much longer than these three people? Can we assume they were not part of the mainstream?
May I answer his question first, please? So, can you repeat your question? I'm sorry. I can tell you that we are, at this point, very much in the process of gathering information. As I stand here right now, I don't have information to indicate that any of them are known members of an extremist group. I am not willing to answer that at this time in light of the condition of the investigation itself, which is very much ongoing.